So, we have already gone through the process of innovation and the part it plays in new product development. Now, let's take you through actually the new product development or NPD process, how it goes through in companies, organizations, and businesses. First and foremost, we would like to discuss with you the factors which help or aid in faster adoption of a new product. The greater the relative advantage of an innovation, the faster is the rate of adoption. We are all aware that if the advantage which the new process or new product is bringing into the customer or to the organization, the faster it will be adopted. The greater the complexity of a product or innovation, the slower the rate. Definitely, if you will have a type of windows which you are very user friendly, you will adopt that much faster than something which is very complex and you take time to learn and time to do. So this is the example of the complexity actually slowing down the process of adoption of the innovation. The greater the compatibility of an innovation, compatibility with present structure, compatibility to be put into the processes which are already running, compatibility with what the customer is already using, it helps to have a faster rate of adoption in the market. The greater the comfortability of the customer in using it, it makes it faster to adopt. A very simple statement. The greater the divisibility of an innovation. The divisibility we mean if the same innovation can be divided into multiple uses for a customer or for an organization, the rate of adoption becomes much faster because these are helpful in not only concerning with one customer or one process, but multiple processes where this thing can be divided and run into several things simultaneously. So coming down to the brass tacks now of product development steps. The first is that the idea has to be generated. So generating an idea about a new product, then screening the ideas. We will always have a typical funnel for new product development where new ideas are generated. Maybe if you look at some companies, some organizations, they also have a process of people to give in new ideas to improve things. It can be a process, a product, or a service. You might have 50 ideas coming in which are generated by the people, but then you have to screen them. You can't be running all 50 because the viability or the usage of all those ideas is questionable. It has to be screened first by a group of people of how and where these can be implemented and how many of them can be used to be taken to the next step. The testing of the idea. So if you have screened certain ideas and shortlisted a few, you will say that we need to test some of them. So there is a model test, there is a sample test, or in a smaller process, do a testing so that whether it is viable to do it or not, or whether it is possible to do it with not, whether new resources are needed or whether with the same resources, you'll be able to do the same thing. The business analytics into the testing. The business analytics are whether your processes are up to it or not, whether resources are up to it or not, what is the commercial implication of this. So you will have to go through the business analytics and also look at the customer base, which forms a part of the analytics which is to be done before the idea goes onto the shop floor. Technical and product development. These are the kind of steps where you analyze whether in your company, in your organization, or in your business, you are able to go through with the resources that you have the capability, the composure to take the product through and develop it. So that is your technical capability and the product capability to manufacture or to do that process or to improve and innovate. The final is the pricing. Pricing plays a very important part because eventually in any business or in any organization, the final part is the financials. So the product or the innovation needs to be priced in the right price band. It needs to be put in the target segment in the way where it is the customer feels that it is the right value for money which he is getting for this new product. So this is the main thing. The final is the product launch. The launching where marketing and the launch of the product also is there, also is the final step in product development for any new process or any new product. The product development methodology. Now, where we do a kind of a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. These can be internal, these can be external. You have to look inwards in your organization for a new product to be developed about the kind of strengths your company has to be used as a leverage to get this new product developed. You have to see what weaknesses you have, where are the gaps, whether in processes, in human resource, or in raw material, or in the basic working. The opportunities of the market. This comes out through the marketing and through your people in the market, where they give you a feedback on the customer needs, on the market needs, and the segment that needs to be done. The threats are there from competitors, where the competition also determines whether your product which you are developing is what somebody else has developed, which somebody else already has, or is absolutely new and will overtake the products which the other competitor is offering. There is a lean, mean, and scalable way in every NPD. So the new product development has to be done till the time of shop floor testing in a very lean, mean, and scalable way, where unnecessary resources or commercial and finances are not wasted on a product development which does not give you fruitful results later. What is the need of product development and what are the advantages? Now, new products will always help you to go into a market where you have evolved, where you are already having an existing market, to go further and take a more larger chunk of the customer base. Some of the examples where the existing products have been innovated and new products have been launched are, the biggest example are TV sets. We had from Sony, from Samsung, from Panasonic, TVs which were big, bulky, and then slowly became flatter. And now you have LCDs and LEDs, which the new product which they have been put into the market are actually catering to the need of the customer. New products may be able to use some of the earlier resources which were being used by the company in products which are already being manufactured. So the advantage would be that you do not have to really play around and change a lot of processes. The biggest example in this are Suzuki, Volkswagen, or the companies which are already into the automotive field. Most of their processes were already making, manufacturing components, assembling, which the new product, even if it is changed in shape or something, will be catered to very easily by the organization. They go to the extent where even the raw material can be used. If you must have seen, the best example is Volkswagen or Skoda have, for different versions of their cars, used the same tail lights or the same headlights because it gives them a big leverage and they do not have to go into a reinventing the wheel and changing everything from design to manufacturing for these kind of items to be fixed into an automobile. The new product development is also can be used as a leverage from the marketing point of view. If an organization already has a marketing setup and marketing base with products which they have already in the market, the new product can be easily distributed, and through distributing channels which are existing partially or mainly, you can see this as a very big advantage to the companies which are into goods, FMCGs, like Lay's, Haldiram, or Samsung into ACs, because the distribution channels are already fixed and they already are existing, well laid out and working perfectly. So these are some of the advantages that we have in existing new product development. The factors for a successful product development, however, you have to see that what would be the factors where the product development is successful. So we have to look more or less that it has to be profitable. It delivers and is convenient to the customer and delivers the financial value to the company which is developing this new product. So cost management, while customer benefits, we have to look that the cost of a new product needs to be managed in a way where the company profits and the financials are not affected. That is the primary concern of any organization, which will always look into it that the new product they are developing or putting money into developing has to be commercially viable and give the returns on them. The market value. While the market may look at it from a different point of view, but then you have to look at the new product with a market value which is delivering to the customer as well as to the company the benefits from the target market values. The target value or the target market which is there is has to be taken into account and has to be analyzed of where you have to place your product so that it really works into that market value segment. The other factors for successful product development, we can go into managing of the complications. We have to go into the development programs. They are successfully done. We also go into being and having the understanding of the processes and looking at training and evolving of the manpower resource also, which has to work on this new product development. So for any NPD process which has to have a successful product development and to have the kind of successful implementation, we need to look at the customer needs. It has to match the customer needs for it to be successful. It has to be a workable technology, an existing technology which with a company which is there should be able to implement. It should also work at the supplier's benefit. The supplier should not get overloaded by a new product and they have to work for their benefit also. So the competitive nature of a new product also has to be taken into account. If it is competitive and with the competition it is able to give something new, this is for a successful product development that we will do it. These factors which we just discussed, the customer needs, two of the best examples for this are the Ford Mustang Y generation was launched in 1960s, primarily with the view of the young Y generation customer who needed a car with a zip and a kind of a look which he could flaunt around. And it was a big hit because Ford kept into view the main customer base and the main segment which had to comply with this and which had to be supplied this car. The Dodge Caravan was another very good example for customer needs. A big family car, a wagon, which could carry the family and everything with it and take the whole family on holidays, was a requirement which was not foreseen by any other car manufacturer at that time. And Dodge catered to this need and made a successful model out of the Dodge Caravan. Technology and competitors. So technology, how it will help you in successfully implementing a new product. The biggest example is the smartwatches. We had watch which was there which could tell you the time, but now we have smartwatch which not only tells you the time but also gives you, it has built-in GPS, gives you a lot of other information, your heartbeat, the kind of calories you are burning, everything is there on the watch. This is the way technology has evolved, and there are companies who have managed to use this technology to their advantage in their new products which they have done. One other example is on the cars. We had just a simple display of speedometer, odometer as we say, and the petrol functions or the RPM. Now this is not the only thing. Cars have a play and navigation system built in. They have been able to innovate and build in systems which add something new to the customer's requirement. It adds something which the customer thinks is an added benefit and gives you more information and more reach to have and do what he wants to. Beating the competition. Now we come to the next stage of a successful new product development cycle, which is how do you beat the competition. The example is today Google and other companies have started working on self-drive cars. They are looking at the market 10 years down the line or 5 years down the line and trying to beat the competition in a way to offer the customers something which is not there and which would beat everyone hands down. That is the self-drive, an automated car driving system. Future of smartwatch. We have said the smartwatch is already catered to one part of beating or taking a successful new product because of the technology. However, technology has moved one step ahead, and there are manufacturers looking at a wearable smartwatch, wearable in the sense which wraps around your hand, which is flexible. It is not exactly like a standard bulky watch. It can be a projection system even, and which gives you all the information which a watch gives, and added something else also into it. In the meanwhile, once we have discussed the successful implementation, the advantages of a new product development, we should not also forget the pitfalls of product development. Not every product development issue or process goes successful. There are companies, and there is a data which says that nearly 30% of new product development only in innovating an existing product fail. There are various reasons of these failures, and the data to substantiate absolutely new product development, wherein a new idea and a new product is being introduced or being tried, has a failure ratio of nearly 50 to 55%. The pitfalls of product development also warn us that the product development cycle needs to be followed in the right way. The analysis needs to be done correctly and thoroughly. Business analytics need to be exhaustively drained and checked. We need to also go through each and every failure bottleneck so as not to have a product development which uses very highly usable resources, human resources, financial resources and time of the company, and yet fails in the end because of certain things. So the pitfalls are also a part of the game and also need to be seen and checked very thoroughly. There are certain examples of these innovative product failures which are in front of us and which give us a good lesson in telling us of how innovative products can fail in time. BlackBerry is one of the biggest examples of a failure. The company refused to innovate in the right way and refused to listen to the growing demand of the market for a phone which was much more simpler to operate. It carried on with its physical keyboard, whereas smartphones started switching on to the touch system, and slowly BlackBerry was pushed out of the market because customers no longer wanted to have a physical thick keyboard or pushing down buttons. Betamax is another example of a product failure. The DVD business and the VHS business was so strong, but Betamax did not see that coming and refused to change with the times, and that is how Betamax was outpaced. The VHS products were the one which was lapped up by the customers. Xerox is another company which did not move with the times and which did not actually see the marketing that had to be done into a new product. You'll be surprised to know that Xerox was the first one to come up with a personal computer in 1971. However, they were not able to market it properly and not target the segment which they wanted to, and the competitive marketing was a failure for Xerox and it never took off. Whereas later, the PC market was the biggest one which made Apple and the other IBM. So these are examples in front of us. There is also the example of a product failure of Nintendo, the gaming company. They were the first one to bring out virtual reality games, but they failed because the product quality was so bad that the 3D images used to fail. There was hold up in the system and people totally rejected it. So they were not able to evolve the technology to the level of the product they were trying to push into the market. DVD and HD DVD were very much into the market for storages and for films, but they were not able to match with the basic technology of the Blu-ray, and Blu-ray were the ones which took 70% of the market, and the DVD HD market totally collapsed. These are some of the very, very important product failures where innovation did not work out, and they were actually they fell apart because of certain things which they did not look into at the time of actually pushing this product into the market. The challenges which are there in front of us for product development are, the biggest one are the organizational issues. Now, any organization which is trying to push in a new product into the market, first and foremost has to look inwards and see its own resources, its human resources, its technological resources, the kind of mindset which needs to adapt to a new product. It might be a product which they have never produced before. It might be a process which they have never done before or used. And that is where the top management or the basic think tank of the organization comes into play, where the entire mindset and to adopt a technology where new products are to be developed needs to be pushed down the line for everyone to work on the way or in the way to have the right product with the right quality at the right time. These are certain challenges which we have to look into, and the organization also has to look into its resources in the terms of the technology or the technological resources, the machines, or how it can acquire these resources. And the difference is in the NPD team members' adaptation of the new product. The first and foremost one which takes care of any NPD is the NPD team. This is from where it drives into the whole organization, and they are the ones which are the biggest challenge for any organization to bring it into this. The future of NPD in today's scenario, in 21st century scenario, the biggest challenge in front of any company or any organization is the rate at which the world is evolving and changing. The change rate is so high that technology comes out with a new point every 6 months. You can see it in terms of smartphones, you can see it in terms of a lot of other technologies where it is evolving and changing every 6 months. A laptop with features which you have right now is outdated in another 6 months' time. A phone which you might have now is outdated in another 3 months' time. Cars are coming up with new technologies. There is Tesla who's coming up with cars which nobody would have heard of. So the NPD today is the most important factor along with innovation for a company to survive in today's scenario. To survive and to also be commercially viable, the company needs to innovate and have a very robust new product development department which goes and helps the company into meeting these challenges. The design of the product, the kind of technology they offer, the entire marketing chain, and the final placement of the product, all of this along with the NPD play the biggest part in the success or the continued existence of a company in today's scenario. Thank you so much. It was really nice on these parts to talk to you, and let us hope we take this further in our next session. Thank you.